What is going on, guys? I think we're live as usual. Let me know if you can hear me, see me. I moved over. I guess you guys can't see when I do this. It's somewhere right here. I moved it over just a little bit. Some of you wanted to see a little bit more of the draft, but of course we have to do our promotion for Underdog. That's how we can do these sorts of drafts. But yeah, I moved it over just a little bit. But if there's anything you guys want to see rearranged on the screen within reason, let me know. And again, I'm going to try and pull up the draft board as much as possible. Sometimes I start talking, don't realize it's not pulled up, but I will try my best. So ask any questions you want right here. We'll hop into a draft in a minute. I think I'm on the clock in a few leagues, so why don't we just, yeah, 2 of them on the clock for, so I figured I'd pull those up. We'll make those picks, and then I'll start a draft. I don't know which one. Probably a Best Ball Mania draft. So this one, it looks like I have Goff highlighted. I don't have a quarterback yet. We went strong for running back. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty obvious pick. I don't even have to do any analysis here. We have literally David Montgomery, Amon St. Brown, and Jameson Williams. I obviously starred Goff for a reason. Was hoping he would fall to me in this league. That's just a no-brainer. Have to finish that stack. Lovely. We like when the decisions are incredibly easy. All right. Only other one I'm on the clock for. Looks like we have an RB, not an RB0 start. Hero RB start with Breece Hall, Olave, Pittman. Let's take top wide receiver. I don't end up with Metcalf very often, so I have him ranked like right at his ADP. I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like maybe just I haven't gotten that many drafts at like the mid 4th round. Like maybe I've gotten more towards the polls, but yeah, I haven't really ended up with a lot of Metcalf in drafts. All right, let's do a Best Ball Mania. Why not? Don't do the 8-hour pick ones. Best Ball Mania, $25 entry. If you guys want to enter any of the other ones, Puppy is the best one in terms of, I don't want to say EV. I feel like the EV for all of them is similar, but I like the Puppy's advancement, so I can go back into it. But for the Puppy, you get 2 out of 12, which I think every single one is 2 out of 12 to start. But then it's also 2 out of 12 the next week, then 1 out of 10. If you go over to Best Ball Mania, 2 out of 12, then you got to get 1st out of 13 and then 1st out of 16. So it's really, really difficult to advance in Best Ball Mania. Obviously, they're going to make it that way because so much money's at the top. But yeah, I think that one, I haven't even looked at this one's interesting. 2 out of 12, 1 out of 9, 1 out of 6. So not too bad. But again, I think the Puppy is just like in general the best one. It'll be this one. Go to the draft. All right, we got pick 4. Pretty good pick. McCaffrey's not going to fall to you. You basically just take your favorite wide receiver between Lamb, Hill, Jefferson, and Chase. I try to mix it up. I try to flip-flop. If I'm at like 2-3, sometimes I'll take Lamb, sometimes Hill. If I'm at 3-4, sometimes Jefferson, sometimes Chase. You just don't want to take, oh my goodness, Saquon goes at 3. All right, well, we're going to take Tyreek Hill then. As I said but for tomorrow's video, which you will see, it's kind of like tiers. In tomorrow's video, actually, for Column Winky, I don't even know. I actually answer your question in tomorrow's video. The first player we talk about is Puka for tomorrow. But the way I kind of see it I kind of don't want to pull up the draft board yet. The way I kind of see it for tiers for receiver is you've got this Lamb Tyreek Hill duo. Then you have Chase and Jefferson. Then you kind of have a mini break into St. Brown, in my opinion, and then another mini break into Puka. And I think Puka deserves to be in round 1 for Underdog. If you are in a let's see how this looks. If you are in a 2 wide receiver half PPR league, then maybe you're not going Puka at the end of round 1. Maybe he kind of works his way into round 2. Just formats that favor running back a little bit more heavily. Maybe some running backs kind of scoop up. But Puka is should be going in the late 1st round on Underdog. I don't know, what I kind of talked about in the video, I don't want to put, I don't want to say too much before the video comes out. But basically it's imagine if JSN had done what Puka did last season. He would be going right next to Chase and Jefferson. No one would question it. Everyone would be like, yup, high-end prospect. We love it. He just goes off, has the best rookie season ever. Like, people would be steaming him. He could go first for wide receiver. Like, that could legitimately happen because it was Puka and because it was like, wasn't a high-end prospect going in. He's not some insane athlete. Didn't have this huge college profile. Kind of did it with, Cup being injured at times. Like, you can always throw something out there and be like, yeah, is he going to do it again? It's like he's coming off the best rookie season ever for a wide receiver. And it's like he's actually falling in this draft right now. I don't think I've seen him fall past 12. So he's fallen in this one. But like, you think about Garrett Wilson. He hasn't had a season that good yet. It's all projection based. Marvin Harrison hasn't played a snap in the NFL. Brandon Ayuk, he hasn't had a season like Puka's had. So it's like you look at everyone going after Puka, and it's like none of them have had the season that he's only had. He's only been awesome. The coaching's still there. Scheme is still there. He's still going to be heavily involved. Like, it's just, he's going to be good this season. So yeah, I like Puka late round 1. I think whoever just got this combo here, that's a really nice start. So we'll be on the clock. I think I can minimize that and then pull it back up. We only have 2. That could be annoying, but we'll do it that way. So we took Tyreek Hill. Only running back you consider at this spot is Kyren, as you see from the rankings. I just have like a billion wide receivers. And Kyren is kind of like that separator. So in a pretty good spot with only 3 on the board, we're going to either get Kyren or we're going to get Olave. And I kind of feel like all the wide receivers that went ahead of Olave, then it's like this mini tier break where you throw Kyren in, and then it's another tier. I think I'm going to go with Olave, and we're going to do like a RB0 type build. But see, all of this, so it's kind of like I just said, it's Amon-Ra, it's Puka, it's AJ Brown. Then you get this tier of like Garrett Wilson, Harrison Jr., Ayuk, Adams, London, Olave. Then I think it's a mini break. You throw Kyren in there, and then I think it's Debo, Evans, Nico, Diggs, all these wide receivers. Yeah, Diggs just goes. All those wide receivers that go next are all in their kind of like own tier there. So kind of how I'm seeing things so far. I think we're just going to continue doing RB0 here. We're not going to do Allen because I don't even have a strong reason, but because he's further back in the rankings and I want to start with wide receivers. I think it'd be sharp to go with Waddle here. I know DJ Moore is ahead, and theoretically, if you think about like 100 percentile outcomes, if there was a week where Tyreek Hill had 180 and 3 touchdowns, which is like the dream, right? If you have him in Best Ball Mania and that's in the final week, you need him to win. Like, that's the dream, right? Waddle's probably not doing that. But more just like if you want to bet on Miami being awesome again this season, I'll pull this back up. But also, like, if they get into a game where we don't have the schedule yet, unfortunately, but if we had the schedule, which I think comes out tomorrow, I'm actually not sure. But if we had the schedule, we could look at it and be like, if there's a game where they drop 40 and the team drops 35, most of that production is going to Hill and Waddle, so they can both have like 150 and 1. You can really capitalize on that. But also, they're just both awesome players. You can capitalize on if Tyreek Hill ever has, a down week, Waddle's probably going off. So, and Best Ball Mania doing that. If this was a redraft league, I'm taking DJ Moore there every time. I'm not drafting Hill and Waddle in just a regular redraft league. I wouldn't do that. All right, let's get on to the questions. We have a little bit before our next pick. What draft am I doing? Well, Best Ball Mania. You have Justin Jefferson at 2 personally. Yeah, I'm not gonna like argue with anyone in these top 4. I think it's Lamb, Tyreek 1, 2, Jefferson, Chase 3, 4. But if you think that McCarthy is gonna have a really strong season and maybe he's only like 80% of what Kirk Cousins was, like Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver in football. If McCarthy ends up being decent, no doubt in my mind, Jefferson could be the wide receiver 1 overall. So I genuinely don't care how you order the top 4. I do think the top 4, then St. Brown, then like Puka, AJ Brown. I think that's how it probably should be. How do you get into the same draft? Well, you had to join at the exact same time as me. I think we will next week. Next week, I will do the one where it's all of you guys joining in. I wanted to do another Best Ball Mania this week, though. Metcalf over the potential of Cup. What if he's healthy now? Yeah, I mean, Cup's an interesting one. Obviously, there's a lot of variance to what he's going to do this season. Um, when he was having those monster years, obviously it was like him dominating the target share, and with Puka there, he's not going to dominate target share. If you wanted to take Cup over Metcalf, that's totally fine, because we honestly haven't even seen the ceiling that everyone thinks DK Metcalf has. Like we haven't actually seen that yet. Could it happen? Sure. Will it happen? I don't know. I feel like maybe the ceiling is overblown in Metcalf at times, but I kind of wanted to get Metcalf because I literally never get him, even though I have him ranked in ADP. And not in this draft. It was from earlier. I think we just keep going. I'm not going to reach for any of the running backs at this spot. I don't end up with McBride that often. I don't have the stack with Stroud. I like taking Stroud here, but only if you did, you drafted one of the wide receivers. You drafted Diggs or Collins. You drafted Dell. Like, I wouldn't miss out on those three and then pay up for Stroud. If Stroud is hitting at this ADP, someone in there is dropping nukes, or maybe multiple or all of them are having great games. To not have any of them, it's like you're not really capitalizing on any of that. Okay, so we've got Tyreek Hill, Olave, Waddle, Higgins. We are dominating in this wide receiver core. I love it. We can keep attacking it, but I don't have very much McBride, and this would be a kind of a cool build to get McBride in there. So I would definitely consider him. I would also consider going after Keenan Allen. Would have also been a pretty cool build had I gone with, instead of Waddle, grabbing DJ Moore, and I could have gone DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and then gotten Caleb Williams after that. I think I want to go with McBride because I don't get him that much, and when players that I don't get that much that have ranked decently close to ADP, and also obviously I like them this season, when they become pretty good values in a build that makes sense for it, it's just sharp to take that. So we added in McBride, and why it makes sense for it is I'm kind of assuming this build is try and hit on mid to late round running back. And the best way that works out for me is dominate wide receiver, assign some early value to tight end to where if I only took 2, it would be totally fine. Maybe we only end up with 7 receivers and 2 tight ends, and we can really start hammering out that running back position later on with volume, because we're not going to be able to compete with the teams that went running back heavy early on. If we draft the same number of them, they're going to really beat us later on. So we're going to need volume running back, which means attack wide receiver, attack tight end, allow ourselves to do that later in the draft. I will pull this up and I'll get back to the questions. Also, 9 likes, 85 concurrent, 180 total people have come in here. Let's bump that number up. Let's get that to 20. Can somebody hit the like button? What did you not say we were doing? Baseball Mania. How did I not end up in your draft? Well, when I did this Baseball Mania, it was instant. So I may have been the last person or the second to last person into that draft. You may have just gotten the one right after that. What about Cup? Talked about that. Maybe was Cup in a where did Cup go in this draft? Oh, Cup went way over here. Maybe why not Cup instead of, I don't know when that question came in, if that was for the Metcalf one or if that was for this one. But this one, I would definitely draft Waddle over Cup because I have the stack with Tyreek Hill. Is Ayuk overvalued in round 2? In a keeper league, so I guess we're talking redraft here. Should I keep Ayuk at 311 or Jordan Love at 10-2? I'm going to assume that you did not mean Superflex. Yeah, you're keeping Jordan Love, obviously. I think it's a very interesting discussion if Ayuk at 13 feels overvalued to me, just given what we've seen, given the assumption that he remains on the 49ers, which is kind of something you have to just assume right now is happening. I would say at 13 is overvalued. I would say I have him ranked in this tier that I talked about before. Evans, Collins, Diggs, Neighbors, Waddle, that kind of grouping. So I think he should probably be going closer to that turn. Maybe people are kind of assuming that there's a chance he gets moved. Maybe he goes to a situation where someone really wants to give him a big contract, wants to feature him in the offense. But yeah, I would say he's maybe overvalued that spot. Given your exact question, though, I will answer that in a second. I have been ending up with an absolutely egregious amount of Ken Walker. Now, we were kind of off Ken Walker last season because I was concerned a little bit about Charbonnet. I was thinking maybe the pass catching role. I thought McIntosh, honestly, would I just have some sort of role in the receiving game. That never kind of came to fruition with some of the injuries. Ladd McConkey just went at 46. Is that the same person? It is not the same person. Okay. Wait, he actually goes this early? He goes in round 6? Oh, I just missed out on Ken Walker. But I was saying I really wanted Ken Walker at that pick. That stinks. Okay. Ooh, this would be interesting if I drafted Pitts here. I'm not going to draft Addison. It would be one of these two. Oh, that's so interesting. Or I could go with Burrow, but I don't know about that. For our next, I think I want to do this. So what I would have done, had Ken Walker not have gone, I would have drafted Ken Walker here, been in love with that as an RB0 build, maybe tried to get Ken Walker and Aaron Jones, and would have been in love with that. I've been ending up with so much Ken Walker, and I had to drop him in the rankings because I was ending up with so much of him. Like, again, I was off him last season to a degree. He's obviously a very good player. He has significant touchdown upside. He is an explosive player, so we can capture that upside in Underdog where it's like he could hit for 2 70-yard touchdowns in any given week. He is good enough in the receiving game to get by. Like, he's good. He's clearly a good player on an offense that's going to be good. And he's going in, the 6th round. So many builds. I just attack wide receiver. I end up with Ken Walker as my top running back as a player who could finish as a running back 1. I don't know. I've been very surprised at that. One thing I'm very sad about is what just happened in this draft. Jones, Zamir, Montgomery, boom, 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 just all taken off the board for me. I mean, we can go with Stevenson here, but I'm not taking any of the other running backs if Stevenson's not the board. You guys might see a true RB0 build here, because maybe I just stick with Addison, and I just say we're just all in. I'm not going to take... Oh, Kyler would be a good pick here, too, if we wanted to do that. Stack Kyler, and then we come around with Tua later on. Kyler to McBride. I want to do it. I don't want to take running back here. I want to keep pushing running back off because I also want to see what happens. I don't think I have a build yet. And I've had a lot of builds so far. I'm in a lot of the slow drafts. I'm probably in 10 or 15 of the slow drafts right now. I have not had a build that attacks wide receiver this heavily. And it feels like a very unique one. So we have the Kyler McBride stack. We're beginning the Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Tua stack. My goal is to get Tua at 117. No, that won't happen. I won't get him 117. I was going to say if he could fall. My goal is to get him at 100 then. Because no one's going to really have the stack. These teams, they two already took quarterback. I don't think they have any. Yeah, there's no Miami players. It would be weird for them to take a naked Tua at this turn. So at 93, I'll take someone else. I'll take Tua at 100. I probably should try and target a running back in round 8 at 93, and then we'll just kind of see what happens after that. But it's an interesting build because we have the potential for 2 really, really strong stacks. We're potentially dominant at tight end. We're not taking another tight end. That's just not going to happen. Really strong at wide receiver right now to where I'm anticipating only taking 7. So if we do 2, 4, 11, we get 7. We'd get 7 running backs at that point if we took 3 more wide receivers, 1 more quarterback, hopefully again Tua at pick 100, 7 running backs. Okay, I like it. Questions. Let's see if we can answer one. Oh yeah, I didn't answer that guy's question. I do have a tool on the site that'll help you kind of pick keepers. Off the top of my head, I would say Ayuk. Getting a little bit of value at earlier in the draft, 311. If Ayuk is going to, in redraft leagues, go in the late second round, you're getting a round of value early on. I would say in a redraft league, I wouldn't be shocked if Jordan Love kind of goes in a general 9-10 range anyways, to which case it's not significant value. 1 round of value in round 2, 3 is way better than 1 round of value in 8, 9, 10. So, Love would need closer to a late 7th round ADP at that point. And I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, where do you go here? He hasn't even gone yet. So on Underdog, where quarterbacks kind of get pushed up a little bit more, we're in round 8 and Love hasn't even gone yet. But I love the season, so I'd be fine doing it, but I would still say Ayuk. Okay, so again, we're not taking two at that spot. We can take Christian Watson. We can keep going with that. The sharp pick here is probably taking Mostert, someone I don't get a ton of, but also continues this stack. If we think Miami is awesome this season, it just makes a lot of sense here. And again, in a game where we're targeting a game that has, significant upside. It's very unfortunate that we don't have the schedule. Again, I think it comes out tomorrow. But we're just going to attempt to hit it with some other teams. Hopefully it's, Cincinnati. Cincinnati would be a good matchup there. I'm trying to think of AFC team maybe later on we can try and target. It's more likely they're going to play an AFC team. Maybe go for a divisional late round target. Maybe we can get Polk, right? We can try and get a stack of New England. We're just trying to guess as to what can be later on. But not too much, right? We're not reaching for players just to try and guess what the schedule is going to be. We know it was my pick. Maybe we screwed that up. So my ranking was 100. ADP is 112. I want to risk it so bad. Okay. I want to risk it here with Tua. And maybe it's dumb, but it's 13 spots of a reach, and no one is going to have the stack because I even took the running back. And I think you go with Watson here as well, but I think the sharp move is to start attacking the running back position a little bit more heavily. You could have definitely gone with Christian Watson there because he's also a very high upside player. I want to risk it. I think that's worth the risk. It's okay if we don't end up with Tua here because we already have another stack, and maybe we can go to, we can get a later stack. But who's gonna go with Tua? The only other one is Achane. So he didn't take him. Bowers. So move this up a little bit for you guys. Who's taking? Why would you take Tua? I would get it if Tua is available at 130, his ADP is 112, and you just want that value. Maybe you go after, I don't even know, Jonnu Smith. You want to go after Odell or you want to go after Malik Washington. Sure. There's no reason to take Tua naked near his ADP. So the only one I can see doing it is the Achane team. Where does Achane? And this person already has Richardson. I don't know. I think he's going to fall to us. And I think also when you're thinking about these, these best ball ones, it's someone out there is going to have a Hill Waddle stack with Tua, and they got Tua at 141. Someone has an awesome one. So for you to reach 13 spots, you're just guaranteeing if you advance, and it's the thing you need. Someone's got a better build than you. Now, maybe that created some different level of value, and maybe them getting at the value, actually you got a better player because their players are busted. It can still work out, but I think it's worth the risk. So I'm going to do it. Okay. You do not understand London being at pick 19. He's been straight up bad first 2 seasons. And I don't even think, I can't remember his ADP. Maybe we can click this guy's team when we go back into ours. I think his ADP is actually even a little bit earlier than 19. I think the guy actually got him earlier. It's obviously just a combination of he's a good player. People know that. It hasn't happened yet because quarterback play has been bad. It's just projection. It's just saying, Kirk Cousins is good. Kirk Cousins elevates offense. We know Darnell Mooney is kind of captain what he can be. They don't really have another wide receiver after that. We could see, a 25, 26% target share from Drake London. He's not as good as Jefferson. He won't post the numbers of Jefferson. But can he approach that? Maybe. That's what it is. But I completely understand. I was loading up on London when he was going in more this range and more round 3. I understand being hesitant in the second round. I haven't been going there as much, and I love him. I prefer Pitt. I drafted Pitts here. I prefer wait for Pitts to fall 10 spots because London also doesn't fall either. People take him pretty early on. We'll cry if Tua gets taken at this spot. But if he doesn't, I'm liking this build. We will need to go back to wide receiver. I know we've said we tacked it heavily I should probably think about what I'll do. This is something I always screw up in the drafts, is I don't think about what I'm going to do if my person does get taken. But we're going to go with Tua here. Yeah, I mean, Chase Brown, if we could get the next spot, they'll be kind of, there's a drop off at running back, which kind of stinks. But yeah, we'll take Tua. I'm loving this build so far. But like I was saying, we started off very heavy at wide receiver, and I was thinking we'd only draft 7. If we're not careful, we're going to need to draft 8. Like if we wait too long to draft them, we're going to need more. But for right now, I think we're fine. But we're only drafting running backs and wide receivers. The rest, we're hoping that Kyler Murray and Tua don't have the same bye. It really does stink that you are risking that drafting right before schedules come out because we don't know the buys yet. But we'll just cross our fingers on that one. If it happens, it happens. So be it. But we really want Chase Brown with this pick. Like, this guy already also has 4 running. There's no way he takes Chase Brown. You literally only have Jacoby Meyer. Yeah, you got to grab some wide receivers, bud. All right. I mean, not much analysis there. I think this has worked out pretty well. The only one that didn't work out for us was not getting Ken Walker and having to take Pitts at that spot. I do think the team would have been better if we had Ken Walker, and then we were hoping one of those running backs would fall to us. None of them did. But our team would have been better had we gotten Ken Walker there. But, it is what it is. I think the build's coming together really nicely. Questions. Desmond Ritter was a problem. Yeah, I mean, Arthur Smith, Desmond Ritter, who were they throwing out there? It was, I can't remember. Who's before Desmond Ritter? Someone remind me. Who moved to Washington? Whatever. I'll remember it at some point. I'll remember it in like the middle of the night and wake up. What scoring is Nick doing? Underdog here, half PPR. If you're asking me what I like the most, it is half PPR as well. I genuinely understand people's concern with full PPR being like a cheat code. I agree. Like, it's so dumb when someone catches like a negative 3-yard catch and just get pummeled, and it's like, oh, positive 0.7. It's like, no, that's not the same. Like, someone like rips off like a beautiful 7-yard carry and that's worth the same. Like, no. I think half PPR is just the perfect format, in my opinion. Yes, Underdog is all half PPR, and you should join Underdog. You should sign up for Underdog, promo code FFA. Again, I feel like people don't know the full promo. It's the redraft rankings too. So yes, you get the Underdog rankings. You can upload directly to Underdog, draft them as pre-draft rankings. You get the Underdog app. You get the Underdog strategy stuff, all that. But you also get the redraft rankings. So if you're in a redraft league and you don't want to sign up for like full all-in on the website, you can sign up for Underdog, first account, promo code FFA, deposit at least $10. You get the redraft rankings. You don't get the other stuff, all the other premium content on the site, but you'll get the redraft rankings if you want to do it that way. Pitch should be better too. Yeah, well, that's the hope, is that Pitts will be better. Slow draft gives you migraines. So I love slow drafts on Underdog because I don't have time to do these fast drafts. I have to do them live and make them a video just because, it takes so much time making the content for the site, making the videos, doing other things that'll go into the rankings, editing stuff, posting stuff. Like, all that stuff takes a lot of time working on projects, you guys, that I can't sit down and just do a 45-minute, hour-long draft. I got to do the slows. But I love it. I love the slow draft. You just wake up, draft like 10 spots. I don't know. I like it a lot. All right, we're on the clock. We've not been paying attention. Dowd will be a good pick here. Marshawn Lloyd would be a good pick here. At wide receiver, Downs is a really good value. I've moved him down in the rankings recently. And we probably should go back to attacking wide receiver. I don't think he has significant upside. But I think we should go back to wide receiver and take one that I think he'll end up being a strong value. I think he is a better player than people anticipate. I think, being that like full-time slot receiver now that they have A.D. Mitchell for that number 2, no one's going to be paying attention to him. Yes, capped upside with those 2 on the outside, with Richardson running the ball. But I just think he's a really, really talented player, and I'm praying that Rico Dowdle doesn't get taken at this spot. And I just think he can have some like really strong games, really good value later in drafts. I think we take Dowdle here. You guys have heard my take 1,000 times on Zeke. I think he's cooked. I mean, if they really want 3.5 yards a carry and inefficiency in the receiving game, like, I get that he can pass block and that, he's probably not going to fumble much, but like, Zeke is bad. He's been bad for 2 years. He's got like 1 million. He's got over 2,500 touches in his career. He's cooked. Zeke is cooked. So I think Dowdle is their best running back. If you're going to get the best running back on Dallas in 13th round. Now they can sign someone. They can trade for someone. What if those running backs I've been talking about, Miles Sanders, Dameon Pierce, Najee Harris, if they go to Dallas, this Dowdle pick is toast, right? But I think it's worth a shot on the build we're doing, because if that hits and he's like their one this season and I went this heavy at these other positions, I mean, we're locked and loaded. So that's what I like taking Dowdle there. We're at 5 wide receivers and 4 running backs. Again, we're only drafting running back and wide receiver the rest of the way. I would say we're probably still looking at the 7 and 7. That's what it was, right? Yeah, 7 and 7. So 2 more wideouts, 3 more receivers, but that'll come down to value. If there's like no running backs I have any sort of interest in, maybe we can go with 6, but we're probably risking it a little bit with 6 given who we have right now. Atlanta will improve a lot without Arthur Smith and Desmond Ridder holding everything back. Feels like London, Pitts, Bijan will all benefit. Yeah, but again, they have to, right? Because like people were cutting Pitts last season. Bijan, it was like, when's it going to happen? London, it was like, can I trust him this week? So understand that, like, yes, Arthur Smith being gone, the upgrade from Desmond Ridder to Kirk Cousins is significant. It better be for us to now be taking Drake London in round 2. Right? And Bijan is going top 5 or top 6? He goes 7. Okay, yeah. So it's like McCaffrey. It's not normally Barkley, but it's McCaffrey always going like 1 or 2. It's these 4 receivers, but then it's Bijan, St. Brown, and Hall. So yeah, there better be a big upgrade going from players where you were hesitant starting to first and second rounders. So we need to recognize that. You missed on this draft by 1 second as well. We've done the draft tonight. Not this early in the season. We're not in mid-May. We can't be doing 2-hour live streams, and maybe once we get into like July and August, we can start cranking out a bunch of these. But honestly, not enough questions to be doing the live streams. We need some more questions here. Oh, it's me my pick again. All right, running back, receiver. Again, we're not even looking at the other positions. I like Troy Franklin. I thought he dropped a lot in the draft. I like Polk because I love targeting a team's wide receiver 1. Not guaranteed, but probably a team's wide receiver 1 later in drafts. That can always work out if the team ends up being better than you would think. Between the two of them, I have Franklin ranked first. ADP is 0.7 higher. So we'll go with Franklin. Running back is disgusting. I kind of don't want to take Chuba, but if Sanders got traded away, Chuba at least as the 2, maybe starts the season a little bit better because we've got Brooks coming off the ACL. It's really gross. I mean, we're already in the range where it's like, Polkos. We're in the range where it's like, I want to just wait and just take shots on dudes. So I think we just keep going after wide receiver. I did move Corley up. So you guys remember last week, I drafted Corley over Bateman. I moved him a little bit higher in the rankings because I think you guys were right. Corley was the better pick at that spot. I'm not in love with Roman Wilson. I'm not in love with Corley either, for being honest, but he does have weekly upside. Probably should have put at least 3 seconds of thought into what stacks I could have gotten. It would have really only been what? Malik? Could have drafted Malik later on. But yeah, it's just, running back's just so gross right now. I kind of just wanted to lock in some of the ones that I liked later on. But yeah, I moved him up. But Roman Wilson, I just don't love him because, like, Arthur Smith is there. Low volume, run heavy offense. Not good quarterback play. Not a high-end prospect. Like a good one, but nothing where it's like, oh, he's definitely going to be a wide receiver 1 in the league. Like, he's a 2 on a bad team, right? Like, it's not an inspiring pick to make. A lot of people have been hyping up Baker. I'm not going to lie, I don't know enough to have a strong take there. I think that Polk is a really good value, and I've been ending up with Polk a decent amount. And like for them to be going 6 picks apart, to me, Polk's a way better pick at 169 than Baker is at 175, because I think he's much more likely. But initial reports are very positive out of New England for Baker. It's just like there's just so many bodies there. We got to really figure out what the exact rotation is going to be. But the one I feel confident in is Polk. Polk's going to be out there to start the year every play. I don't feel confident Baker's going to be. So again, yeah, 6 picks difference, 7 picks, however you want to count that. I think it's a better value. Yeah, so that's what I was talking about, Brad R. Sure, they'll benefit, but Drake London was the wide receiver 41 last year. You think he's going to jump from 41 to 10? That's the question. Does Cousins bring him that high? I haven't been drafting him a ton, I'll say. It's keeper, half PPR, 3 wide receiver. Oh, yeah, a 3 wide receiver league, not super flex. Definitely Ayuk. Even if he's being overvalued a little bit at 2 and 3 wide receiver, he is a second round pick, definitely, for sure. Okay. How would you compare late round quarterback values, Purdy to Goff? On Underdog, again, like I said, I don't draft 2 unless I have that stack. Goff is at times easier to stack because there's like a lot of different time. There's a lot of different players you could have gotten on the Lions offense where it's like, oh, at least have like this player. Purdy, same way. It's like I don't love drafting Purdy unless I have a McCaffrey and Ayuk, Kittle, which I never end up with, or Debo, because it's like if Purdy goes off, someone he threw to was having an amazing game, because it's like, Tua and Purdy get all of their values from passing, so you want their pass catchers. So I would just say it kind of needs to be a stack for them. Goff, I'm a little bit more okay with it because it's like just a little bit easier to do, because they're not all like early round players. I'll finish that for a redraft though. Also, I like McMillan a lot, but I don't know that we're going to go here. We're going to take... No! I was going to take Pierce there. Algier, I'm not in love with him, but if something were to happen to Bijan, he's a running back 1. It's just like a pretty easy pick to make at, 20 spots of value, 22 picks of value. Got him like 2 rounds after where he usually goes. Yeah, if something happens to Bijan, he's a significant value, and that's what I'm looking for with the rest of these running back picks. Guerendo. If something happened to McCaffrey, I don't think they'd feature him, but they like his explosiveness a lot. I don't love Braylon Allen, but he's my top ranked player. I feel like Guerendo is probably more exciting to me. I feel like that's the play. Because he's literally a 100th percentile athlete on the 49ers. Like, how does that not get you a little bit excited, right? And who knows? Maybe there's some games the 49ers dominate, and then it's like he kind of goes in there, only has 7 carries, but busts off 2 long touchdowns. Like, you're just looking for a path with these, pick 200 running backs. And also, don't worry about, like, pick 17, 18, those rounds. Don't worry that I technically reached a few spots, because I also don't even think, like, he wouldn't have been there probably my next pick. I was definitely talking, oh yeah, for redraft. That's just a personal, in redraft leagues, they're all 3 of those, Purdy, Tua, Goff, have such similar value that I wouldn't fault anyone for going any direction. Goff feels like the safest, but yeah, go with your gut on that one. My guess is the rankings, I don't even remember what exactly the rankings have. My guess is it would be Purdy to a Goff. That's probably how I would rank it. And so if it came down to it, that's probably how I'd draft it. But again, if we're just specifically looking at Underdog, I got to have stacks for Purdy and Tua. Like they're not going to hit for great seasons unless their pass catchers do amazing. Does this year feel weaker, especially round 2 than previous year? I would tend to agree with that. So I'll pull up round 2 here. Like, AJ Brown, Puka are great picks for second round. Jonathan Taylor is a great second round pick. Kyron, if he stays healthy, is a great second round pick and like doesn't open the door for Blake Corum. Nico, Evans, Drake, maybe Achan. Do those really feel like second round picks to you? I don't know. But the thing is, they have to be, because Laporta doesn't feel like a second round pick. Metcalf, Pittman, Waddle, Neighbors, Diggs, those aren't second round picks. So it feels like round 2, there's really only like a round 1, which is strong. Round 1's very strong this year. And maybe like half of round 2 feels like it should be in round 2. Like, Adams. Okay, who should be in round 2? No, who should be in round 1? McCaffrey, Lamb, Barkley, Hill, Chase, Jefferson, St. Brown. I don't know what I'm at. Brees Hall, Gibbs, AJ Brown, Puka. That generally, I don't know if I did like 11 or 12. That should be round 1. And round 2, worth players. Garrett Wilson, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. I would say Ayuk is worth like a late second. Jonathan Taylor, Adams, Olave. After that, I feel like everyone's worth round 3, but you have to take them in round 2 because it's kind of a drop off. So maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's like, oh, everyone who keeps getting, a top 3 pick that used to also get these insane players at the end of round 2 and into round 3, maybe they get a little bit more of a hit, so it can be like a year for, the people to come out with, like, because, look at this build. Like Garrett Wilson, A.J. Brown, Kelsey. That's pretty strong, right? So maybe it's a benefit. Who could hit at this spot? Bigsby, because they didn't add anyone else, right? And they've kind of hyped him up a little bit. In my opinion, it's Bigsby, it's Shipley, and it's Miles Sanders, because in Miles Sanders' case, kind of want to go there, to be honest. And Miles Sanders, like, you got to think he gets traded, right? They draft Brooks. They were using Chuba ahead of him all last season. Teams will be willing to give you something for Miles Sanders at running back. If you're not going to use him, could he go to the Chargers? Could he go to Dallas? I don't really know running back, another spot for running back off the top of my head. But there are a number of different spots. The Rams wouldn't, or the Raiders, we wouldn't love that as much in fantasy. The Jaguars, could they go after him? It's like, there are spots, and I think he gets traded. And in literally one of the last picks in the draft, that's all I'm thinking about. Okay, how'd the build work out? We have our stacks. We have Tua to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. We'll pray when the schedule comes out that we have a stacking partner on the bring back. Kyler, we stacked with McBride. And you really don't even have to stack Kyler. He's got that mobility. So I love that. I love our duo of McBride and Pitts. I have not been ending up with that a lot, so it's unique to me. We attacked wide receiver heavily early on. Tyreek Hill, Olave, Waddle, T. Higgins. Beautiful. We waited a little bit to come on after that. Just solid value picks. Downs, Troy Franklin, Corley. We don't need them to work out a ton because we invested a lot in wide receiver early on there. And then running back. Didn't draft one until the late 8th round, but we go with Raheem Mostert, Jalen Warren, Chase Brown, Dowdle, Algier, Urendo. I think it's Urendo. Someone correct me if I'm saying it wrong. And Miles Sanders. I like how running back ended up. I wish wide receiver was one stronger. So I feel like I wish. I like the McBride Kyler here. So I guess the Pitts pick. Could we? But I wouldn't have liked. But maybe at the Pitts pick, had like Ridley fallen to us or Dunze. Okay, my perfect draft would be if a Dunze had fallen to us at the Pitts pick, and that we can swap Pitts with like Corley, and I could have just drafted a different tight end at that spot. I think I would have liked that a little bit more, but I still really like how this build worked out. What do you think of okay, what do we think of the 5 pick? Chase, Debo, Keenan Allen, Jameson Williams, Rashid, Pearsall, Odell. Fine. I'm not in love with Odell, but it's a late round. Like, you can take shots there. That's totally fine. Yeah, Pacheco, I talked about how, I love this value for Ken Walker right now. Pacheco, Ken Walker, Stevenson. I don't love Dobbins, but fine pick. Pierce. Perhaps a teensy bit thin at running back, but not too bad. Laporta, Kement, Juwan, beautiful. Purdy stacked with Debo, nice. And then Goff stacked with Jameson Williams and Laporta. There it was. Good. Yeah, that's a strong build. I think, yeah, okay, the Carr pick. Carr, I would have just wanted one more running back shot. Like I would have sniped me on Miles Sanders. That's what I would have taken Miles Sanders there. I just drafted one more because, like, you know, Pacheco's good, but Pacheco's never really shown a consistently high ceiling. So you get Pacheco, you get two good values here, but you're going to need a little bit more running back. And, like, I don't believe a ton in Dobbins. What if Pierce doesn't get traded and he does nothing? Like, I would have maybe wanted one more, but honestly, that's nitpicking your 18th round pick. I think it's a strong build. I just don't think you need the third, but you know, if it comes out with a schedule that Purdy and Goff have the same bye, you're going to love that pick, stacking it with Juwan, which I do love the stack. Like, I think Carr's being undervalued this late. Like, he would have to get replaced to actually be worth this late of a pick. Which Broncos wide receiver is best value in full PPR? I don't have accurate ADPs for full PPR. I would say Sutton, like, should be the first one, but value-wise, I mean, I like Troy Franklin. I think he can emerge. I think, you know, taking a shot on Mims later on, I still think he has upside. Best value in PPR, like pretending that these are the picks. Probably Franklin. I think Franklin just getting the last one because it's kind of an unknown situation. Like if you told me Franklin was their first wide receiver, I'd be surprised but not shocked if he was their most valuable. But it'd be the same as Mims. Like I'd be surprised if he outscored Sutton, but not shocked. Are you making videos again about the different underdog strategies? I'm not sure. I did go in. I actually haven't updated the app for this. I did go in, updated how the model looks at different values for underdog in terms of like just adding in last year's ADPs. So like what is the % chance you get X quality of player at different spots? I updated that, but I don't know if I pushed that to the app yet. So I can go back and look at that. There weren't any like significant changes from last season. So the general strategies are still there. I don't know if I'm going to continue that. If I do, it'll only be like a couple of those ones. Just because of video performance. Like if just the Underdog videos perform better, obviously Underdog is sponsoring those Underdog videos. They want high performing videos. And I know for a fact I can like generate more engagement with videos that kind of point out which players to target. People like strategy, but the general market has been low on those videos. So I might throw in a couple of them. You'll take Pittman in the second? I don't know. You don't have to is one thing I'll say. Pittman very solidly goes at pick 30. Occasionally someone picks him in the early third round. I actually got him at 40 the other day and I stacked it with his quarterback, Richardson. My goodness. Stacked him with Richardson also at a discount. I was loving that. I love Pittman in this mid-third round, but he really just 30, 31, 29. Like he always goes in that spot. So you don't have to. If you take him in round 2, technically, if you had, a late third round pick, but you're not taking him at 14. So you just don't have to take him in round 2. Who's your least favorite elite wide receiver and least favorite elite running back? I don't like the value in H-Chan. I've made that clear in videos. I think round 2 is a little bit absurd for him. Other than H-Chan, I think all those other ones make sense. Honestly, Pacheco, I don't love the 4th round for Pacheco. But those are the only two that I'm like really off on. Wide receiver, you guys are talking me into Drake London in round 2. I don't think anyone's egregious at wide receiver, though. Ayuk at 13 feels a little, maybe perhaps a bit egregious. No one else. So maybe like London and Ayuk are kind of the two that feel a little bit uneasy about there. Is taking 2 quarterbacks smarter than taking 3? So when the schedules come out, don't take a third. The math, I did the math like a year or two ago. It was 3 rounds, I think. Now I'm blanking if it's 2.5 or 3 rounds. But basically, I would say 2.5. Let's say 2.5 for argument's sake. If you were in the later rounds and a quarterback you like, especially one that completes a stack, maybe has a bring back on the other side, something like that, works out for your team, is your third quarterback at 2.5 rounds of value, take it. It's fine taking the third then. Do not take at ADP. Do not take a third quarterback later on unless it's like a dream stack. You're like, oh my goodness, this is like somehow maybe, I don't know, like McCarthy, maybe Daniel Jones if you stacked the Vikings or the Giants, and you're like, Nick, I have to take the third. It's like, I have the stack. I need the team to work out. Okay. The math works out to where you shouldn't be taking your third once you know schedules unless it's at least 2 rounds of values. I think it was like 2.5 rounds of value. All right. I think that's enough questions for this week. Please remember the promo. It's on the screen. It is staring you in the face. You get the redraft rankings for free as well. Promo code FFA. It'll be the next day. I get an email every morning of the people who signed up. I personally sign you up for access to the website, but you also get their stuff. Like they're going to increase your deposit up to $250 now, not $100, but it's 50%. So like if you put $100 into Underdog, they'll give you a $50, like 50 cash bonus up to $250. So if you deposit $500, they'll give you $250. They'll also give you a free pick'em special for those of you who like pick'em. But yeah, the big thing for me, I think, is redraft. You get the Underdog rankings, you can upload to the site, but you redraft as well. So if you're still here, you had to somewhat like it, right? So hit the like button. We'll be back tomorrow with year 2 wide receivers that I really like. Friday, year 2 wide receivers I really do not like. Saturday, haven't written it yet, writing it tomorrow. Hot takes. I'm going for Scorchers. I'm going for like, this isn't happening, but man, would it be cool if it did, and I like this player a lot, or I hate this player. We're going for Scorcher and hot takes. Then, but that is it for this one. Let's go watch some Caitlin Clark, and we'll get on out of here.